Hey guys, it's Tracy. Welcome back to Love Your Shelf. I'm Tracy, and today I'm going to go through books I've read that start with the letter F. So we're going through the alphabet because my YouTube channel is newer. I want people to know what I'm into reading, just to see if we have a vibe reading-wise. So we are going to talk about books I've read that start with F, the letter F. So the first one that's on here is Fables, Volume 1, which is a comic book about fairy tales. So there's fairy tale characters. It's kind of similar to, I want to say, a show. I think there's a show called Fable. No, there's a video game called Fable that I love. There's a show. I don't remember what it's called. It has like Snow White and shit in it. But yeah, it's kind of like that, except like kind of fucked up. The next one is Falling Up by Shel Silverstein, which is a poetry book. And you can't really go wrong with Shel Silverstein. He's definitely one of the main poets they talk to you about in elementary school and middle school or something, growing up. Next up is Find the Good, Unexpected Life Lessons from a Small Town Obituary Writer. There's one more word in there, which is really just a self-help book about finding the good in life, or like legitimately just being grateful for things. So yeah, Finding Me by Viola Davis. I read this year and it is heartbreaking. There's a happy ending, thankfully, if you know Viola Davis, or if you don't know but know about her. Like, I don't personally know her, but yeah, Finding Me is a heartbreaking, very good book. I gave it 5 stars. Well, 4.75, but rounds up to 5 on GoodReads. Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley, also an amazing book about Native Americans and meth and suicide and murder. There's a lot that goes hand in hand in that. And it's a really good book. I picked it up not really knowing what to expect at all. Like, I didn't read the back. I read it for book club and I was wowed. Like, it had a lot of twists and turns I didn't expect, and it was really good. The Firm by John Grisham is one of my favorite John Grisham books. I've only read 2. I've liked both of them, The Client and The Firm. Flowers for Algernon, I read so many years ago, and when I read it, I loved it, and I should probably read it again because I bet I get a lot of different things out of it now than I did when I was younger. The Forever War by Joe Haldeman is about a war that literally just goes on and on and on, and it's us against aliens. It's like Ender's Game, but in real life, which Ender's Game is in real life anyway. So it's kind of like that, except a grown-up version, and it's pretty good. The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton, I don't remember a lot about. I know it's like over 600 pages or a lot, so it just seemed like a very daunting read at the time, but I got through it and I didn't hate it, but I literally cannot tell you a single thing about that book now. But Kate Morton has come out with a lot of other things, and I might want to read some of them because, if memory serves me right, I did like this book. Foster by Claire Keegan is a very short book about a girl who kind of goes into someone, like her parents give her to someone else to take care of her for a while they get stuff ready for like a new sibling, I believe, or crops, one or the other, or both. And she ends up finding solace in their house, which is very good and not something you always hear about. But it was short-lived and uneventful, but also not. Like, that's very indicative of how there are things that we go through life that feel anticlimactic, but they stick with us for life. Like, her being fostered by this family, I'm sure, sticks with her. throughout her entire life and how much different this family is than hers, and the love that she found through there, like that probably did stick with her forever. And there are things like that we go through that don't seem like a big deal at the time, but end up being a big deal. And actually, like, it is a big deal that you just take your kid to someone else's house for months, and it is a big deal that someone takes care of your child. So, but like, in that moment, I don't know, the book itself didn't have climax. I didn't feel climactic, but overall, there was a lot happening. The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand is probably the book that made me love reading. That sounds weird to say, but it's a real thing. Because Howard Rourke is my first, like, fictional crush. I just reread it recently, and it is still as good as I remember, but it also isn't, because I've read so many other good things. But it's still a really good book. It has a lot of really good morals that they go through, and Howard Rourke is still amazing. So yeah, but also it was written back in the day, and you know how some things back in the day just don't stand the test of time any longer, so there's that. The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz, which is a self-help book about the four agreements of life, pretty much, and if you ask me to name any of them right now, I can't. But there was a time where I was like, yes, let's live by these four agreements, and it made sense to me. It doesn't really have to be a book, it is, but it doesn't have to be. French Women Don't Get Fat, The Secret of Eating for Pleasure, which is just a book about things that French women eat and the fact that they walk a lot and, like, are happy and take pleasure in being present and living their life the way they want to live, and just, like, culturally how different that is than American women. Those are books I've read that start with F. It's not a lot. If I had to pick a favorite, it would be The Fountainhead. I can't not say it's The Fountainhead. If I picked a least favorite, it would probably be, I guess, Fables, Volume 1. It takes a lot for me to love a comic book. I don't, like, I'll read them, and I have read some, and I have loved some, but I have also not loved some, and Fables was alright. And the rest of the books that I have on here weren't bad, so that's what I'm going to go with. So anyway, those are books that start with F that I have read. Thank you so much for joining me here in my little library. That's not a library, it's not 1,000 books yet. I know that's what it is. I'm like barely pushing 400, but you know. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and reading and talking about books with me today. I'm Tracy. If you're interested in any of the books, or you read them and you like them or dislike them, let me know. And please subscribe or like if you like this video. Thank you for joining me. Love yourself. Thanks for joining me. Namaste, guys.